Welcome back to the Citizen channel. Hope you're all staying safe and well. We have a History Boys feature today. And yes, it's one of those History Boys features where we've only ever played this team once before in our history. So it's quite easy to pick the game. And it's nice to say I was there at this one as well. So yes, we're going to have a look at the 14th of February, 1981. That was a momentous year for me personally. More on that in a moment. Peterborough versus Manchester City in the FA Cup round 5, yeah. It was certainly a good vibe around City at the time. Of course, John Bond had joined the club sort of, I think, at the October of the 1980, and we just felt a little bit cheated. We'd gone out of a two-legged League Cup semi-final against Liverpool. Well, we pretty much thought we'd been robbed, guys, by the referee. An interesting decision in the first leg, which obviously came back to haunt us as we lost the first leg at Main Road 1-0, but then I could only draw 1-1 at Anfield. So we were denied one route to Wembley, that was for sure, through some dodgy refereeing decisions. Let's put it that way. That's another vlog altogether. But yeah, so that was one route to Wembley gone. But we did have another, and it seemed a long time ago, 1981, since we've been to Wembley. It was only 5 years previously, but at that stage, it seemed a hell of a long time between visiting, and obviously we didn't realise how long it would be after that, did we? Certainly for a major cup final. Anyway, obviously we had a couple of visits for other games, but yeah, very odd times. As I say, it felt like an age in 81 that we hadn't been to Wembley. Please, before we talk about the game, if you're new to the channel, please push that subscribe button, push the bell notifications so you know these vlogs are coming out. I do everything City, past, present and forever, of course, history, etc, etc. So please tell your City supporting friends as well. And if you want to have a rest from football, I do lots of stuff on film and TV as well, reviews and information vlogs, and I try and inform and entertain on there as well. Please, if you can, give us a thumbs up, guys. Let me leave us your comments. Let me know your memories of this if you were there at Peterborough. Let me know your memories of this game. As I say, I don't remember too much about the actual game itself. Just how I got there and where I stood, basically. Obviously, and celebrating the goal, of course, that would come in this game. But let me know anyway with your comments and give us that thumbs up. Right, so we'll talk about this, please. Yeah, we'll talk to the FA. We'll come back to the FA Cup tie in just a moment. I mean, away from the match, as I said, personally, it was an interesting year. It was a disappointing year, obviously, for City fans with the Wembley defeat. But I made this trip to this game by coach. I remember walking back to the coach. I think it was pretty much the same way as the train station from what I remember. And I think I came out of the game probably just before full time. I just wanted to get back to the coach as quickly as I could, but obviously it wouldn't have been much before full time. But as I said, my memory's fading now on what I did. I think it was on my own there, which wasn't unusual, but I was usually with other people. But I think I went to this one on my own and was managing to get to a lot of away games, certainly that season. And we just found out that we were expecting our first child. Me and the ex were expecting our first child in September as well. So that was great news. And this was Valentine's Day, so I wangled that, guys. I wangled this trip very well. I'm sure I made up for it later on. But yeah, this was a Valentine's Day match, of course. Certainly it wasn't long since I'd learned we were having our first child. So I did very well to get there, in all fairness. Away from me, obviously, well, it's more serious matters. The 20th of February, round about this time, Peter Sutcliffe, of course, the Yorkshire Ripper, will be charged with murder of 13 women in the north of England. We'd just been on a lighter note, a brighter note, on the 24th of February, the engagement, of course, of 32-year-old Charles, Prince of Wales, and 19-year-old Lady Diana Spencer was officially announced. And 10th of February, Alan Rogers' cut-out animation Pigeon Street. Remember Pigeon Street? I don't particularly. I don't remember the name. I don't remember watching it, but obviously the images bring back a lot of memories. That began on BBC One, of course. Pigeon Street, we were a fan on that. Woman, I Can Hardly Explain, by, of course, Mr. John Lennon, was the #1 single. And the Double Fantasy album by John Lennon and Yoko Ono was top of the album charts. I never touched a Yoko Ono, to be honest with you. Raiders of the Lost Ark was the #1 box office film, of course, of 1981 by a long, long way. And what a great film that was. And that pound you put in your piggy bank, yeah, that pound you put in would have been worth £4.08 today. So not a vast fortune, of course. But anyway, back to football. out of the League Cup, but doing okay in the league. I say we had the bounce, didn't we? Had the bounce of John Bond coming, and he was enjoying his honeymoon period still since taking over. As I said, the previous October, we as fans had enjoyed stuffing Malcolm Allison's Crystal Palace 4-0 at Main Road in the third round. That was a good day, a good game, a good day, and hammering, of course, Norwich 6-0 in the fourth round. So a trip to fourth division. Peterborough didn't have the trip to fourth division. Yeah, they're in the fourth division, and they had been in the third division, I think, a few years previously. But a trip to fourth division, Peterborough didn't have the same sort of banana skin feel that Halifax Town had the previous season, because that was very fresh in our memories. But it was the previous season. Peterborough, of course, because of being in the fourth division, already played 4 rounds of the FA Cup to get to this tie. They'd beat Northampton Town 4-1 in the first round. They'd won away at Barnet 1-0 in the second round. In round 3, they were taken to a replay, but then they won away to Chesterfield after a 1-1 draw at home. And in the round 4, they'd beaten Notts County away to set up this tie. And they were fairly buoyant, fairly confident. As I said, City had been lumped out by Halifax the season before, so there's no reason for Peter to be overly scared. A guy called Peter Morris, again, not familiar to me, was the Peterborough manager at the time. And as a sign of the times, fencing had literally just been erected behind both goals due to persistent crowd trouble, but that was the norm at grounds in those days. On the lineups, yeah, not very familiar names in the Peterborough lineups. If you go on YouTube, guys, I'll try and put the link up. There's actually the match of the day from the night after or the day after, and it features highlights of this game, so you can still watch bits of this game on YouTube. I'll try and put the link up for you. The lineups: Peterborough, Waff, McVeigh, Phillips, Gin, Slack, Slough, Quo, Quow, I think it was spelled. Yeah, unusual name. Kellock, Cook. Kellock was the top scorer of the season before. Cook was the top scorer this season. Kellock, Cook, Hodgson, and Robson. And Manchester City, well, what a team. What a team, one of our great teams, of course. Joe Corrigan, Tony Henry, Bobby McDonald, Nicky Reid, Paul Power, Tommy Booth, Dave Bennett, Jerry Gow, Steve McKenzie, Tommy Hutchinson, Kevin Reeves. Yes, all great names from the early 80s and Mr. Bond's tenure, of course. Good crowd as well at London Road, 27,780. The previous best crowd that they'd had been for a League Cup tie earlier on against Nottingham Forest with a crowd of 11,503. So a massive crowd, and obviously a very big. I don't know whether it got bettered after that. It possibly did, but that was a massive crowd for Peterborough at the time. We had a bloke in a top hat. Obviously, they're nicknamed the POSH, aren't they? We had a bloke in a top hat and tails parading around with a stick around the ground, looking. Well, he looked very posh, but up close, he looked a bit of a scruffy bugger, to be honest with you. So I don't know where he was from. I bet he didn't talk posh, that was for sure. John Bond himself missed this game. Yeah, he didn't get to this game. He had flu. At the time. So the City fans who were there, like myself, were packed behind the goal. I was behind the goal as well. So as the cameras for the match, we were all on the right-hand side. Some great limbs as well, obviously, with the goal City scored in this. And there were also City fans, I think, in the opposite paddock as well, opposite the camera. I say I was stood. When I was stood, some obviously a lot of banter between ourselves and the Peterborough fans. Who a couple had Stanley knives, waving them around. I remember at the time. That's another lasting impression I had of the game itself. There was police around, but obviously they were very clever, so they tried to do it. And I don't think there were security cameras to catch things like that at the time. So very, very interesting times, as you probably know, if you were there in that period in the visiting football grounds. Yeah, the game itself didn't look like the David and Goliath game, as Peterborough played with great confidence. The first half, there's reason to believe that they actually were the better team, to be honest with you. And City were a little bit nervous. Perhaps there's still a lot of new players in the City team. There's still players that were there the season before, of course, against Halifax, who probably dreaded the thought of that. The pitch wasn't quite as bad. The pitch was okay. It didn't cut up too badly. And I think the sun was trying to break through for most of the game as well. And of course, we were wearing our formidable red and black stripes with the white collar. A great look. Initially, yeah, we did take the game to them, but as I said, they did come back in. Bennett went close early on with a header from a Hutchinson across, but it was Peter who began to make the chances. And top scorer Cook blasted over one of the better ones. Yeah, it fell over his shoulder. And with Corrigan sort of coming to the edge of his 6-yard box, Cook just blasted it and literally met it perfectly, but obviously he just blasted it too high over the bar. It could have easily been 1-0 to Peter at that stage. And it was Corrigan who was the busiest keeper in that first half, including having to trap back and dive to save a Nicky Reed deflection, which was heading for goal at one stage. We did have the ball in the net earlier, a Bennett shot from a corner, and Mr. McDonald was laying on the floor and quite ungentlemanly put it in the goal with his arm. So quite rightly, the referee had actually noticed this and cancelled out the goal. Not very gentlemanly. He get booked for that. I don't think he got booked, but he would certainly get booked for that now as he punched it over the line. And as half-time approached, 0-0, as I say, we were clinging on at times, but we did manage to get that important goal. And just before half-time, Mackenzie won a corner on the City left. From the corner of the ball, sort of fell to Paul Power, who blasted goal. Was lots of bodies in between. And, of course, it rebounded out to the magnificent Tommy Booth, of course, who scored a very memorable goal at Villa Park in 1969 FA Cup semi-final against Everton, don't forget. Tommy Booth turned and fired home for his first goal for almost 2 seasons, I think, to put City 1-0 in the lead at half-time. This on the TV, you can hear the City fans shouting, "Wembley, Wembley," where the bit and all this sort of thing, just before half-time. And then Kellock at the other end, he had a great chance to equalise for Peterborough, a fantastic headed chance that came across, a totally free header, and he just headed it wide of the post where it looked as though it could have been easy to score, to be honest with you. So we certainly rode our luck in that first half. But as you can tell, the second half was a bit of a damp squib, certainly as far as Peterborough were concerned. Happily for City, who seemed to control it. And we started the second half a lot better, limiting Peterborough's chances. And they struggled to get in our half. A good chance fell to Mackenzie, who could have made it 2-0 and more or less wrapped it up. But to be honest with you, it was literally before full time that Peterborough just had the best effort, and it was a free kick blast just before the end of the game, which was always rising, and beat Corrigan was always rising into where the City fans were at the end, and that was more or less it. A more controlled second half, which had seen us through. City controlled that second half. And as a reward for that, a good win at Peterborough, obviously, we were rewarded with a very tough trip at the time. Everton, a cracking team at the time in 1981. A tough trip to Goodison Park would be our reward in the quarter-final. And you could hear the fans singing, United, United, you are next, to the City fans singing this, because our next home game was actually the derby. And yes, we would beat them. Yeah, a Steve Mackenzie goal in a 1-0 win, which is always nice, especially in that period where we weren't doing so well against United. Peterborough themselves, as I said, they weren't always in the 4th division. They've been up and down, and they've been in the 3rd division a few seasons earlier. But I think they could be proud of the performance. I think they played very, very well. And we were very close to a goal or two themselves. And on another day, a little bit of luck and fortune, they may have done another Halifax on us, God forbid. But they played very well. I think they actually finished a creditable 5th in the 4th division that season. So they did okay. So there you go, guys. Thanks for joining me for this little bit. Let me know any memories you've got of this trip to Peterborough, or even if you didn't go, any memories you've got of the day, what you did, and how you look forward to the trip to Everton, which is another vlog in itself, isn't it? But thanks for joining me for this little History Boys feature. The 14th of February, Valentine's Day. Yes, Valentine's Day, 1981. Peterborough 0, Manchester City 1 in the FA Cup 5th round. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of the day. Have a great one. Look after yourselves, look after your friends, look after your families. More important, let's all look after each other. It's with me here again on the Citizen channel. I only ask one thing, don't I? Please stay safe, Blues. Come on, City. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.